Good afternoon and welcome once again to In the Hot Seat with Deborah Fennella. Hope you're all having a blessed day. And today's guest in the hot seat, who's very busy actually on film set, is Swaylee Loughnane. Now, Swaylee is not only a movie director and a movie producer, a script writer, but he's also an actor as well. And we've been really lucky actually to be able to get hold of him today because we've had a few problems with the internet connection. So he's actually on the telephone. So good afternoon, Swaylee. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very hot, but it's going well. We're getting there. Yeah, we had quite a lot of stuff to get through today. We were lucky enough to get a nice location there. But it's going okay. I can't really moan about the weather because you've got to try and enjoy it while you last. I just wish I was on a beach somewhere instead of working.
Oh, bless you. Whereabouts are you filming? In London?
No, it's Romford, the London Borough of Havering, just on the outskirts of Romford near Collier Row we're filming. We've got a lovely little location there, and we are doing some scenes for a short film that's a sequel to one we did last year called Bank on Us 2.
Right, exciting. So please tell our listeners a little bit about the movie you're working on today before we go, obviously, into all the movies previously that you've done.
Yep, okay. So the movie today, what it is a follow-up to one we did, a short film we did last year called Bank on Us, and it's basically about a guy that tries to go on the straight and narrow. He's then talked it, but didn't have a choice and forced into really having to go back into crime just to make ends meet because the system was just not helping him, and he feels sort of pressurized into going back into crime as that being his only option. So it's pretty intense stuff,
So who actually wrote the script for the movie? Did you actually write it, Swaylee?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's one of the ones I've written with Ignited hashtag, one of the many shorts that I've written with those guys.
You've been very busy actually script writing, haven't you? So when did your first love start with actually starting to write short movies? I
first started writing back in 2005 at the Actors Centre. I thought, there's a guy that he had all the equipment and he said, I'd like to do a short film, but I really don't know what to do.
Hello, still can hear you.
This guy wanted to basically do a short, and he didn't have ideas, and I had a few ideas, and he said, well, why don't you put that down on paper? And I said, well, I've never even thought about writing, and it's not something that that I'm sure I want to do. I'm an actor. I like acting. I directed some amateur plays and acted in plays at the Sylvia Young Theatre School, and I thought, give us a few days and I'll see what I can come up with. And we did one, and that was like a drama, and it just took off. We did really well with it, and I honestly didn't think it would because not having that much confidence, I never even thought about writing. But this particular piece that we did, which was called A Slice Too Many, it was about 22 minutes long, and everybody loved it, and it opened some doors, and the right people in the industry saw it, luckily. It went from there, and I've just been doing shorts ever since. I've just done although I've acted in feature films, I've just directed my first feature film, which was called Mother's Child. That was last year. We did that one. It's gone from strength to strength. We've been very lucky to meet a lot of lovely people along the way and some real hard-working professionals,
It certainly is, because I know myself, being an actress from childhood like yourself, there's a lot of hanging around on film set, isn't there? Because you could actually be on film set for a good 12 hours, and until it's actually your time to go on set, there is a lot of sitting around. So you do have to be very patient, don't you? But during that time, you can actually network, make some new friends, and you never know who you're talking to at the end of the day. Because I remember first meeting you on the film set of The Last Hours of Johnny Cash for Autopsy, and I played Roseanne Cash.
Sorry? remember working with you. Yep, that's where we met, wasn't it? On the Johnny Cash. I played John.
It was.
And it was lovely seeing that. When a friend of mine from New York, it's played on a channel called the Reels channel several times in Los Angeles and New York, and I'm like, when are you going to play it in the UK? You know.
I haven't seen it yet, because when you shared on Facebook that it's actually on, I've been looking on like Amazon and Netflix, and unfortunately I haven't actually seen it myself because I was in the funeral scene. So it'd be really, lovely to be able to watch it and see myself, in the background, same as you, which was good fun, wasn't it? Yeah. So when did your first love of acting actually start? Was it like as a child? Was there anyone in your family that sort of pushed you forwards, or was an actor themselves?
Yeah, what it was back in 1996, and my mum, she said, you're so shy. I couldn't give eye contact. I was a very nervous, insecure child. And she said, I don't know what to do to bring you out of yourself. So she saw an ad in the paper for acting classes at the Sylvia Young Theatre School, and she said, how would you feel about acting? And I said, well, I'll give it a go. She said, I really think you should. It may bring you out yourself and build your confidence. And I remember the first week I went there, the first lesson, it was started off as Saturday classes. And I was a nervous wreck, standing up in front of 30 confident full-time drama students and trying to sort of act. But I kept it up, and after the third or fourth week, I thought, sod it, what's the worst that can happen? And it really, it sort of, I got the sort of bug, if you like. I absolutely loved it. When I went on my first film set, I think I had one small piece of dialogue in a film. What was it now? It's back in 1997. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was this this feature film. And once being on the set and seeing all the cameras and having your makeup done and having your photos done, I thought, wow, it felt like a family film, and I just got hooked. I absolutely loved it and loved working with the people I meet, all the different people you meet. It was great, and ever since then, I've just, thoroughly loved it.
As I say, it is just an amazing opportunity to be on the film set, like you say, as well, because there's so much that's involved. People don't realise, when you're actually making a movie, because it takes hours and hours and hours. And I remember the first time I went on film set, and it was for London Heist, and we was in the nightclub scene, and we was on set for 12 hours, and we had to record the same scene. I think it must have been about 50 times. And you don't realise it when you're actually watching these movies, how hard that the movie, directors and the producers and all of the production team work, let alone all the cast as well. It's a lot of dedication. And like you say, you do become that family unit, don't you? Because you look out for each other, they look after you on film set. And it's quite a magical experience, isn't it? Because it's stepping into a completely different reality.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I did that first film, it was just come to me. It was Speak Like a Child, it was called, and I remember thinking, my gosh, literally to shoot this classroom scene, I was playing one of the students, and I had to ask the teacher something, and then the lead actor had to get involved, who was mentally challenged in the film, and this, I couldn't believe it. Like you say, 12 hours for, I think they probably got that day, what was used in the film, 30 seconds. I'm like, wow, you sort of respect movies or TV, so much more when you witness it, experience it, should I say, firsthand,
You certainly do. And when it all comes together, it is phenomenal to watch it back, and you think, wow, all of those hours that we've all been on film set and stepping into our roles, then all of the pieces of jigsaw puzzle fall together, and then out comes that magical movie, doesn't it? Which is exciting in itself, especially when you see yourself in front of that camera. I mean, obviously some people can be a bit judgmental when they see themselves in front of the camera, a bit camera shy. But the good thing is, like you say, when you're acting, you do step into character, so you're not you're actually playing that role, that character that you've been casted to play, haven't you? So which is your favourite character, would you have said, that you've actually played since you embarked down that path in 1996?
My favourite, I always like playing characters so different. To me, the worst thing is just playing myself, where it's like a cockney, happy-go-lucky guy. Like, all right, mate. It's just like I'm watching it and I cringe. I'm like, oh my god, is that what I really sound like? And I don't like watching myself at all, to be honest. But the best ones I've done probably. I played an FBI agent in a feature film that's not released yet called Rhea. And I did I've done 3 American roles, and I loved that because when the 2 that I've obviously seen, when I watch that back, it's like it didn't feel like I'm watching me, so I enjoyed it. And plus, 2 of those were comedy, and I loved the idea of something that's not serious, not dramatic, not violent. Most stuff I was put up for my first agents mainly was because I always worked out and was cockney. It was always the thug, the hard man, and it was nice to do something comical, play an American. So it's definitely the 3 American roles I've done over the last 18 or so years in between. It was definitely the American. I love that. Absolutely love playing American roles.
So as a child growing up, who was your actual inspiration? Who did you aspire to be like in, say, for instance, Hollywood or a celebrity actor?
Right. It was definitely, without a doubt, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I started karate lessons and weight training because that was my idol. I'd watch his movies and I'd think, wow, I'd love to be in like these type of movies. And a few of the action guys like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but mainly Jean-Claude Van Damme. It was like the action hero with the great physique and the fancy moves and getting the girl. It was like, wow, if I can be like this guy. So that's what really drove me to sort of do martial arts and really push myself with acting and weight training, bodybuilding, etc.
Did you ever watch the Bruce Lee movies? I mean, having 3 brothers myself, I was brought up with all of the Bruce Lee movies. My brothers were always watching it, like, Enter the Dragon, The Way of the Dragon. Did you still love those types of movies as well? I mean, they were really big, weren't they, in the 80s?
Yeah, I mean, I loved the Bruce Lee movies, Brendan Lee movies. The Crow was one of my favourite movies, and several other of his. There was Showdown in Little Tokyo, I believe, I think it was, and with all the stuff with Dolph Lundgren, anything like that, I was in awe of. I'm like, I had a love for that, and I used to be a big wrestling fan, and I just, that these macho type guys, I'm like, from 12 years old, working out, thinking, I'd love to be up there and that sort of thing. But it's weird, as I've got older, I now appreciate more. I like comical type of characters, but I also really like roles I can get my teeth into, like the dramas. So I've totally changed. If somebody said to me now, would you want to be in an action film? You got to, I work out every day anyway, but if you want to take your working out to a whole new level and do action, I don't think I would be that excited about it. So it's strange. I've definitely changed, and I've got much more of appreciation now for sort of character acting type of like Brando type of roles, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. Because you did actually have Big Joe Egan starring Mother's Child. I mean, I did actually meet Big Joe Egan at London Alternative Fashion Week, and I interviewed him when I worked on Hope FM as well. So I hope to interview him in the hot seat. Bless him. So how was that for you? Was that the first time that you met Big Joe?
Yes, it was. He's a very good friend of Sarah Amanda Hugh, who played our lead actress in the film. And she said, I said, we're shooting a scene and we want a few like doormen and just, and she went, well, how about Joe? And I went, what, really? Would he be interested? She went, I'll get him on the phone for you now. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking that this is a joke, right? I mean, I've seen this guy in Sherlock Holmes, and I knew he was going to be in various other things that I was due to be in as well. So I'm like, all right, great, yeah, it'd be great, but I can't see him wanting to do it because it's very low budget. And he was like, yeah, no problem. I'm free on, I think, July the 2nd. can we shoot it then? And I'm like, we can shoot it anytime you're free, mate, because you know, it was great having him there on set the same day as Alex Reid, and the pair of them hit it off quite well, and I thought they did quite well with their scene, and I'm directing them in the scene along with Paul Tomo Thomas, Essex Strongman. It was like, wow, these big tough guys are listening to my direction. I had to sort of pinch yourself moment, you know, very surreal.
Oh, bless you. Have you got any plans for them to be in any future movies? I mean, I did actually meet Alex Reid when he came to Bournemouth. My daughter entered a bikini bodybuilding competition 2 years ago, and he was actually one of the judges. So that was quite exciting. So have you got any plans for them to be in future movies? Because I know you're working on Emma and the Augmentation. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm working on Emma's Augmentation, which is a very serious film, you know, about a serious subject matter, and about a couple that are just constantly having domestics, and it's quite intense. So that is what I'm currently preparing for and rehearsing and whatnot. So yeah, I'm working with Tracy Gardner on that, who I worked on a short with in 2016. That was more comedy though, and we had a great chemistry. That this time around we're playing husband and wife, the two leads in the film, and it's, you know, there's a lot of preparation going into that, which is nice because it's quite dark, a lot darker than anything I've ever done up to now. And your other question about would I be working with Joe or Alex again? There was Alex wanted to do a film that he wanted me to write, myself and Paul Gardner, who him and Alan Colgrave wrote Mother's Child, and me and Paul have written several screenplays, and he read a couple of them and loved them, and he said, I'd like you to write a film about the experiences I've gone through, basically Fathers for Justice type of movie, and if you wrote that, I'd love to star in it. So we're in talks with him, which would, you know, we're talking several years down the line because of the preparation and the research we've got to put into this. In regards to Joe, I was talking to Sarah last week that came up with an idea about the life story of her partner that was tragically stabbed to death last year. Joe's best friend, the guy was, and she wanted to know if I'd be interested in making a film from this story, and Joe playing basically himself in it. So we're in talks there. So there is a strong possibility that I will work with both of those guys again in the future. But we're not talking anytime soon because I've literally got so much. I've taken so much on, and COVID has slowed me down terribly. So I'm now sort of trying to get as much done as I can, so I can move on and keep to my word with the people that I've agreed to work with. I don't want to let anybody down. There's people that I've agreed that I'm going to do films with. We've got a few short films. I've got a documentary that I'm doing. So we would have been right on schedule now, but I'm now behind 4 months. So before I sort of take anything else on regards to working on these features that I am in talks about, I need to basically stick to my commitments and get those done first. So I'm not moaning because it's lovely to be busy, but it's just been a crazy year, hasn't it, for everybody?
It certainly has, and it's been very difficult times for a lot of people as well with the COVID-19. I mean, obviously restrictions are starting to be eased, but also like with the musical theatre, I do a lot of musical theatre myself, and that's been halted as well at this moment in time. So we're hoping to get back to it next year, because a friend of mine and myself, we are actually going to start our own theatre production company. But like you say, it's been tough for everybody, hasn't it, Swaylee? I mean, I'm linked to a lot of casting agents as you. And there are some casting work that's starting to come through now, but obviously you still have to abide by the social distancing rules, don't you, to protect yourself and those around you. So I'm hoping by the end of this year we'll see the end of it. Fingers crossed, anyway.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give somebody then, Swaylee, who would like to embark down the pathway in the acting and TV and film industry?
Well, I would definitely, recommend getting some good training. I would. It doesn't necessarily have to be the big top name schools. I mean, not everybody's fortunate enough to be able to go to Sylvia Young's or Anna Scher's, Lambda, but I've known people to go to local little unheard of drama groups and become very, very good actors. I think if you're passionate enough for it and you really love acting and love movies and love being creative and performing, that you can do well no matter where you go. Some people have got it in their head that, oh, if I go to the big top RADA and all this, I'll be great. Well, not necessarily. So to answer your question anyhow, I would strongly suggest training. I meet a lot of people that think that you can just be an actor. Yeah, I'm great. And when it comes down to actually working, they realise just what goes into it, that they've had no training, yet they call themselves professional actors. But the advice I would give is just go out there and, get the training and show respect for the industry by doing that. I mean, I wouldn't show up on a building site and say, well, I want to go and build that wall because I know I can do it when I've never had any experience. And I think that's the same with this industry, not knocking anybody that, is trying to give it a go without any training. Good luck to it. But you definitely just get some kind of training. If amateur dramatics, your local theatre, it's not, doesn't cost a fortune to do, and it really will benefit them because it shows as well on their CVs that they take it seriously, and it's not just a phase they're going through where they want to be rich and famous like so many people just want this days without putting any work into it.
Yes, I mean, like anything, you always have to start at the bottom, and it's all about discipline and perseverance, never giving up, but also experience as well. And when you put in that time and that energy, the end results are phenomenal. You don't know until you actually try. But acting, anyone can give it a go. And I think it really does help those that maybe go through bullying as well, because people lose their confidence and self-esteem if they go through bullying. And if you start acting and stepping into a different role, you learn to actually deal with it as well, because you're stepping into a completely different character. And it will actually boost your confidence and your self-worth and your self-esteem as well, because you're thinking, right, well, I'll step into a different sort of role and then I'll stand up for myself. So I think they should maybe introduce that a lot more into the schools. Personally, when children are getting bullied, they need to sort of persuade them to embark down that sort of scenarios of acting and think, right, okay, one play the bully and the other one play the victim, and how they feel, and then step into that role where you actually find that inner strength and confidence, stand up to that bully. So it's role playing, isn't it? Yeah. So you never know, in schools they might start doing it and introducing it. I think it'd be a fantastic idea. So if anyone's listening to me today that would maybe like to take on that idea, please feel free.
I would recommend a group, the Lightning Drama Group in Romford in the Mercury Mall. That's very good. Very reasonably priced, and some of their students go on to do all sorts of wonderful things. I would always recommend starting off in the theatre. I did, doing several plays, end of year productions with Lambda and amateur dramatics with the Wellington Theatre Group through Sylvia Young, and it really does prepare you for acting in front of the camera, I believe. You have to tone it down a bit because theatrical acting is a lot more over the top. But if you can act and you can remember your dialogue and the whole of the play in front of a live audience, when it comes to having a camera in front of you, it's compared to doing live, it's a walk in the park, I believe. Well, it certainly was for me, but so I a bit get into the theatre. My daughter, that's nearly 4, starts at the Lightning Drama Group in November, acting and dancing and singing. So
That's really cute, isn't it? I mean, the difference, obviously, when you are on TV or film set, and unless it's actually live and it's recorded, you can obviously, you know, start again. But when you're actually live in musical theatre, which we've both done, if you mess up, you just got to keep going. Or if you're singing your song live on that stage and you forget the words, you just got to keep going regardless as well. That is the difference between the two, isn't it? So again, it does take a lot of confidence to get up on that stage in front of everyone that's looking at you, because it can be a bit daunting, can't it? But when you're stepping into character, it's like you're not you, because you're that person that you're stepping into character and aspire to act to be like.
Yeah, exactly. You find, I mean, I was a nervous wreck the first one I did. I was like, I just peeped through the curtain and I'm like, wow, 300 other students here at drama school, and it was like, hello, yeah, and it was like, yeah, I was like I say, a nervous wreck. But once I got out there, the nerves turned into like adrenaline, and I loved it, and I couldn't wait to get out there again. So, you know, and it was the biggest buzz, especially when they're applauding. People are clapping at the end, and you think, "Wow, I've managed to actually remember all that myself." You know, especially being so shy at the start and originally going just to build my confidence to a normal level where I could just look somebody in the eyes when I'm speaking to them. So I was, you know, you can surprise yourself, you know.
You certainly can. And I think when you do get that applause, you know that you've done a good job. It's when they boo and you think, oh no, why are they booing? You know, I remember when I had an experience on Britain's Got Talent, and I sang with a rapper on there as well. And if you can imagine singing in front of 5,000 people and everyone just like going mental, you know, like shouting and screaming and, you know, raising their hands up in the air. And it was just so much fun. But sometimes on Britain's Got Talent, you can get those that go boo, don't you, as well, which can be a bit sort of like daunting. But I think sometimes it's a bit set up in a way, isn't it? They sort of say, right, one line, just boo, and everyone else just get really excited. But you can't beat a live audience, can you, at the end of the day? I mean, I love singing live and performing live, same as you. I love being a film set.
It's a feeling that, you know, unless you've experienced it yourself, you can't really describe to somebody that hasn't. But it is amazing. And one thing I will, you know, say to anybody that's looking to get into theatre, musical theatre, acting in general, is you never listen to the negativity. There's a lot of negativity, and a lot of the times when you leave castings, it's like not the best feedback, you know, and you think, wow, I've been to some and come away thinking, you know, oh, is this really for me? And the more and more I just stuck with it, opportunities just came, you know. So I would definitely, you learn to develop a thick skin. And all I'd say to anybody is don't get, you know, if you hear something you don't like, oh, I didn't particularly like that song, don't feel like, oh, I want to give up. Just keep going and prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And you use it constructively, because, you know, if you don't believe in yourself in this game, nobody else will, you know, and that was drilled into me from a young age at Sylvia Young, you know, because I was so very nervous. And I said, I just don't think this is for me the first 2 or 3 weeks. And he just said, my drama teacher, Clive, wonderful drama teacher there, what I've just said, you know, it's just like, just keep going, you might surprise yourself. And he was so right, you know. He said that, and never feel like when you're never get to a point where you think I'm brilliant, I'm great, like some actors do. He said when you get to that point, the only way for you to go then is back down the hill. He said you never ever, he said, stay hungry, never think I'm brilliant, always think what accent could I work on next. I mean, I read books out loud to myself for at least an hour a day, and in different accents, to keep like Scottish, Australian another day, just so that I'm prepared. If they say we're looking for a 35-year-old Scotsman, okay, yeah, put me up for it, because I'm, you know, I put the training in, and just keep on top of it, so that when you get an audition, you want to go in there and you want to go, this is me, not your stomach in knots thinking, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me, you know?
Yes, and I think also, you know, with that, preparation is so important, because if you don't prepare, whether it's for an audition or a casting for the actual role that you're doing, you'll mess it up. So it's always good to prepare it, practice in front of the mirror, you know, practice in front of people that maybe live with you or friends, do little recordings, watch yourself back. It's so good to watch yourself back as well, because there's always room for improvement. And also keep your feet firmly on the ground as well. You know, it's always good to stay humble. Like you say, unfortunately, sometimes with some actors, the ego does tend to come in, you know, and it's always good to keep your feet firmly on the ground. I mean, I started out in 1977 with Tuesday's Child Modelling and TV casting agency, and I was taught from a very young age, you know, always keep your feet firmly on the ground, stay humble, and don't take rejection actually personally, like you say, because even though that you maybe don't fit that particular role, something else might come along that you do. And every casting that you go to, they know in their mind what they're looking for. But it's still good experience, because each time you go for those castings and get rejected, you pick yourself back up, you dust yourself back down, and think, right, I'm ready for the next one. And eventually that right door will open and you'll step through it, and you never know what you're going to come up against and experience. And it's always a wonderful experience. And I think the entertainment industry, like you say, in TV and film, it is a wonderful venture. Because it is a venture, because every day is different, isn't it? You never know from one day to the next what casting job's going to come in, or what experience you're going to have along the way, or even you're going to meet and connect with as well. So it's always good to just go with the flow and have a backup plan just in case, but never give up. Keep going, and eventually we'll get that right door that's open for you.
Totally. And you've just got to remember, you know, that if you're doing what you love, it's, you know, you've really got to appreciate that, because it's not easy to get work in this industry. And secondly, you've got to, you know, when you're referring to keeping your feet on the ground, you've got to remember that it is just a job. I really have struggled to get my head around it when I see people that really think they're something special because they're good at acting, because they've worked on it. It's like, it is a job. You'll know better than the guy that's wheeling the trolleys at Tesco's. We're all doing jobs, and you know, you become good at your job. So you must, 100% keep your feet on the ground. That's for sure, because if you start getting carried away and believing all the hype and everything yourself, then I just don't think it leads to anywhere good, you know.
No, it doesn't, because in the end, it leads to sadness, doesn't it? Like you say, you know, so it's really important to keep your feet on the ground, keep your ego in check, and just try your best, just be yourself. Because, you know, you enjoy the experience. You never know what you're going to achieve at the end of it, or who you're going to meet along the way, or what doors are going to open. But also, you make some really good friends on film sets, and also with the production team as well. I mean, I've met some wonderful people, and I've been really humbled and blessed to actually meet them, and we all support each other. And I'm sure that you have, Swaylee, and a lot of people that work with you, you know, you've actually maybe met on film set, and now they're part of your team. So it's all about teamwork, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, most of my friends are in the industry. You know, it sort of feels weird now if I'm out with a friend that's not talking about something to do with the industry. It's quite funny, but you just meet so many different personalities, and it's great, really. You know, some good, some not so good. But the majority of people I've had the pleasure of working with, I've enjoyed it, and we've remained friends. There's a chap called Lee Westwick that's been a godsend regards to him and his company Ignited Hashtag, the work that this chap has put into Mother's Child to get it out there. I mean, we've gone from a very small independent film that I thought, you know, I'll do it and move on to the next one and maybe whack it into a festival. Why not? And you know, this production team have got it into distribution. It's going into Walmart all over America and Canada around Christmas time. It's on Amazon. It can be purchased on Amazon at the moment. Mother's Child. Blu-ray's released, I believe, around the middle of September on Amazon. The first UK release of Mother's Child shot off the shelves in record time because of all the hype about it.
Yes.
We were very, you know, I don't like saying surprised, because I knew it was pretty good, but it was just, you know, I was overwhelmed. And it's all thanks to this guy's hard work. And promotion, along with the other chaps involved, Alan, Christian, that have all supported this at Pinnergate Productions and Silverlight Pictures. So it's just gone from strength to strength, and it's like, wow, I'm still, struggling to believe it. We've got High Flyers PLC that are interested in releasing it, distributing it in like HMV, Tesco's, Asda's.
Wow, fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. So this guy's giving me updates like, a few times a week, and it's all positive, and it's like, wow, you guys are really working hard for this lovely little independent film. And it's a nice feeling. I'm very proud of that particular film, and I'm very proud of every single person that was involved with it, and I think every one of the actors in the film did an amazing job, and I'm very proud of all of them, and yeah, just happy and in awe of the festivals that it's gone into, and going into Pinewood, Cannes Film Festival next year, the Liftoff Sessions, Toronto, Austin. I've lost count, and it's like, wow, is this for real? And so I've just got to do a big shout out to Lee Westwick and the guys at Ignited #, because without them, Mother's Child would have just probably gone into a couple of festivals and never been heard of again. But now everybody can enjoy it on Amazon, and I would suggest you grab a copy because it's very good, I think. I'm being told by everybody that sees it anyway. There's not been anybody that didn't like it. So yeah, just really proud of that particular film,
So with regards to the actual film, for those that haven't watched it, please could you tell our viewers a little bit about the storyline and how you came about writing it in the first place?
Yes, it wasn't me that wrote that. It was Paul Gardner and Alan Colgrave. Alan's from Pinnergate. We'd worked together in the past on about 6 short films, and I always liked his writing. So we got together with Paul, and they came up with a story. And what I liked about it is the twist in it, which I obviously can't really talk about because it'd give the story away. But there is a twist in it, and it's an intense drama about various different people's relationships, a dysfunctional couple, various other little stories all thrown in there. And I thought, when I watched it, when I was directing it, I thought, I want to try and get this like a docudrama, like a fly-on-the-wall docudrama. So people are not quite sure whether this is a film, or it's like something like Towie. I wanted to try and get an in between that, which I think we pulled off pretty well. We were then lucky enough to have Minouche Capital involved with the, although she played a small role in the film, but then she helped us out with the soundtrack, and her voice is amazing. It's just, in my opinion, it made the film come to life. We had Christian Davidson help out with the musical score on the film. Jeff Burgess and David Cheshire, an amazing job of the editing, and it was just, we just got so lucky with this, and anybody that does watch it, that they're not going to expect the twist that comes at the end. And I've had a few people contact, Lee's had people contact him, and people have messaged me that have bought the film on Vimeo on demand and Amazon, and they've said, you've got to do a sequel. I said, well, I'm not sure about this because there's a lot of other things that I've got to do. But they said, look, just we need to see where these characters are going next. And I thought that was just so nice that people genuinely care about the characters in this film and they want to see a sequel. I'm like, wow, I did not expect it. I started off playing, I think I was meant to be in 4 scenes in the film, and then there were rewrites. It was like, we want to take this character for, right, fine, okay. Then I got asked to direct it. I directed short films and some amateur plays in the past, but never a feature. And I'm like, I'll give it a go for you guys. And yeah, to have the feedback, some of the lovely reviews on IMDb and the reviews on Amazon from people that have watched the film, and the majority of them are very positive, and it choked me up actually when I read some of them. I'm like, wow, because I don't do something and think to myself, wow, that's great. I look at myself in a scene and I'm like, oh gosh, you just look at, I I could do with maybe losing a little bit of weight, or I could do with sort of working on that sort of style of acting more. I never watch and go, well, you look great, well, you're a great actor, ever. And I think anybody that does is a little bit bizarre, but
yes.
You know,
I think being self-critical is okay, as long as you're not overly self-critical to the extent where you're trying to be perfectionist, because no one's a perfectionist at the end of the day, are they? No one's perfect. So, you know, it's constructive criticism for yourself, isn't it? You know, room for improvement, again, like I said earlier. Can I improve, you know, in sort of doing it this way, or trying it a different way as well, in order for you to be fully happy with the role that you're actually playing too?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, sort of, you know, being comfortable in your own skin and really getting, you know, I mean, I studied a lot of method acting, which I never I remember I was one of these, when somebody first told me all about that, the Actors Centre, they said method. I'm like, oh yeah, well, all this meditating and really getting into the character and not wanting people to call you by your real name on set and even on your off days. It's a bit mad. But then I saw a different side to it, and I thought, you know, I want to give this a go, and I really want to get into the skin of the characters. And I could totally, after doing some Meisner training at the Barking and Dagenham College, I just did a 10-week course in Meisner, Sanford Meisner, which is the art of method acting. And I just loved it. And I thought, you really, really enjoy playing a character more when you're playing it as a method actor and really believing you're that. And so, you know, I'm now one of these people that would advise anyone to do some method training. When at the start I thought it was all a bit ludicrous, but it just goes to show you, until you've tried something, you shouldn't really judge it, should you? You know?
No, you shouldn't. Now, you've also recently been in a music video. I mean, I've been talking with Moinul about doing some music videos for my latest song releases. But you've also been in one just recently with Jay Keys. And I noticed on Facebook someone said he's your brother. Is that just, you know, a brother from a different mother or something, as you guys tend to like say it? Or is he truly your brother?
He's truly my brother. That James.
Oh, is he really? Oh, wow, I didn't realise that. Because you actually this music video, because you found me on Facebook. I didn't realise he was your brother. I saw you in the actual acting scene of It's Reckless, isn't it, the music video? Wow, yeah. So it must be wonderful having your brother that's a singer and doing the rapping, and you doing like the sort of movie production and directing. So have you thought about maybe getting him involved in a project, maybe doing a bit of rapping?
Yes, we've worked together a few times. He also attended Sylvia Young's, my brother. We're you know, I'm one of 6 children. It's myself, then James, who's Jay Keys, Sonny, Shane, and Shannon and Sinead, my 2 younger sisters. And it's funny that the others have got no interest at all in anything to do with the arts. But me and James, you know, we love it. And to be in, for him to ask me to be in his video was lovely. Done a few of my projects. He plays a small role actually in Mother's Child as one of the main character who I play, John Barrett, one of his workmen, a character called Cliff. So yeah, he enjoyed that, working in a scene with Alex Reid, and we've done some shorts. But his real passion is music, and a few people have gone, when you keep referring to him as your brother, is it like the whole year is my brother?
We're the same.
My brother. If you look at IMDb, James Loughnane. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. Because Daniel Even was actually in the music video as well. Because I've been on film set with Daniel quite a few times with different projects. And I saw him looking cool, you know, in the actual video and sort of dancing a bit. It's quite cool.
Yeah, Daniel loved it. We filmed that up in West Whittington, and it was a beautiful sunny day. And you know, when looking at that video, you'd have thought we were in Spain or Miami or something. It was just, it didn't look like a beach in the UK. And yeah, I loved that experience. And it was such the high production value there. I mean, he had the several drones, as you probably noticed, for the drone shots, and it was I was blown away by it, and that was actually one of his videos that I'm in.
I mean, have you thought about coming down to Dorset? 'Cause we've got some wonderful beaches here. You know, we've got Studlands, we've got Sandbanks, we've got Bournemouth Beach as well. You know, we've got lots of harbours there. So maybe you come down to Dorset and do some filming, and then I can come on film set with you and do some acting.
Absolutely. I know Paul Gardner, who co-wrote Mother's Child and also acts. He's got family in Dorset actually, and he did suggest, you know, maybe shooting some scenes for some of the up and coming projects we're doing with Pinnergate Productions.
Yes, and I think you'd love it because we've got Lulworth Cove as well here, and it's a beautiful location for filming, Lulworth Cove. And we've also got the castle here as well. Yeah, we've got Court Castle ruins.
Absolutely, it'd be great to do some work, you know, outside of Essex. I mean, the majority of the stuff we do is normally East London, Essex, Brentwood, Basildon, all over. And it's just be nice to sort of venture out a little bit further. I mean, every project I seem to do is, you know, like the films I did last year, all Essex based, which is fine, but sometimes it's nice for a change of location. You know, it's always fun to sort of do the whole Warner Brothers Pinewood shoots because it's nice to get out that way. But I think Dorset will definitely be on the cards. You may be seeing some shots of places you recognise in some of our up-and-coming productions over the next few years.
I could actually help you there, obviously coming from the area anyway myself, or living here. So I could actually help you with that. So what are your plans for the future, Swaylee? Where would you like to see yourself in a year's time, for instance?
Well, I would like to just earn, you know, make a comfortable living. I mean, I do okay, although acting is not my sole income. I mean, I run my own business. So I'm still not in a position where I'm making a good living or a comfortable-ish living from acting. Obviously, making a lot of low-budget stuff, acting a lot of low-budget stuff. Some jobs are very well paid. You get the odd commercials, $6,000 for the day, but they don't come along that often.
No, they don't today.
I did a casting for Hollyoaks with I've got a lovely agent, one of the finest agents in London, and he put me up. I was literally with him for 2 weeks, and he put me up for a regular on Hollyoaks. And I thought something like that, you know, to get paid for doing something I love and regular work, that would be great. One of my friends, Amar, who I've worked with, Amar Adacia, that's a filmmaker and actor, he's recently landed a role in EastEnders, and he seems very happy.
That's fantastic.
So something like that. I mean, I know that they want to put me up for the likes of EastEnders, Hollyoaks, which I've already gone up for. I was a little bit too. I went into a little bit too aggressive for the character they wanted. It was full blown. They were like, you're a little bit too scary here, you know. But you were great. So I'm like, right, thanks for the feedback. But the Hollyoaks didn't happen. But you know, something like EastEnders, I think I'd be very content if I got a role.
I think it'd be brilliant in there. I mean, my dream is to be in a period drama because I love that era. I do a lot of period drama photo shoots with my lovely friend Steve Knight, and his wife Julia does all the amazing designs. She makes the costumes. So if any producers or directors are listening to me and there's any jobs going in, any TV dramas, please bear me in mind. And also any producers for EastEnders, please bear Swaylee in mind as well, because you never know who's watching the show, do you?
No, and I appreciate that. And it's funny you should mention Steve Knight. He is a wonderful photographer. I met him on the Crappers back in 2018, a comedy that we did with Rennie Costa. Something I enjoyed doing very much, actually. But yeah, I met Steve there. He was doing all the photography, and he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. You know, I really like him.
He's so lovely. I've been on film set with him many times, and you know, I actually met Rennie when we was on Free Mobile Christmas adverts going back in 2017, and I met his lovely wife Gillian as well. And they're both amazing actors, aren't they? So they've both been working quite a lot with you, haven't they, in some of your film sets, and then the Crappers you was in that.
I worked with, I was very grateful when Rennie casted me in The Crappers in 2018, and I really enjoyed that, and you know, meeting his lovely wife. And since then we've been out. I went to the premiere of a film he did called Bone, so we had a lovely afternoon out and a nice meal and a few pints, and then we went back, you know, and had a drink with Gillian, and then we worked on Memoirs of a Dying Man that he did, that can be seen on YouTube at the moment, and it's doing quite well in the festivals. When I saw the finished product, I loved it, and I've got a lot of respect for the guy. I think he's very talented, very good writer, very good director, and a lovely actor. And I'm pleased to call him and his wife friends of mine, you know.
Yes. I hope to interview actually Rennie leading up to Christmas, because I'm quite busy with interviews now right until October. So I will be contacting Rennie to interview him as well. So what advice would you give to somebody that obviously they want to go down the acting route, but they're looking for a reputable casting agent as well? Because it's always good to ask about, to go with those that are reputable, that, you know, other people belong to as well. You know, rather than sort of go down the pathway of the wrong casting agent. So I think getting the right casting agent is so important for you as an actor, and also, you know, an artist.
Yeah. I think you know, it's a vicious circle at the start. You cannot get a good agent without a good CV. You can't get a good CV without a good agent. I was stuck there for a while. So what I did was I just did as much as I could. I thought, sod it, I joined up with Ray Knight in 2020, although I was doing stuff through the Young'uns agency in Rossmore, Sylvia Young. So I also joined Ray Knight, and I started doing walk-on stuff, the odd line here, the odd line there. I was in EastEnders in 2000, having a pick a fight with Billy Mitchell. I was in The Bill, mugging a woman with a small bit of dialogue. So I'd build it up from you know, the bottom run of the ladder, and little bit parts, they got bigger and bigger. So then once I started getting something half decent on a CV and using whatever material I had, at the time I'd get a friend to record me with a camcorder, and then it'd be put onto a VHS tape back into early 2000s. And that'd be sent to an agent with a CV and several knockbacks. You know, come back when you got more experience, come back when you got your equity card. But I couldn't get my equity card without, I think at the time it was 4 contracts, professionally paid speaking roles, which I believe is similar now for Spotlight, which I went straight onto Spotlight because I was a child actor on Spotlight. But I do understand now that several people are struggling to get on there because of how fussy they are. Well, it was the same back in over 20 years ago with equity, and at the time it was a lot more of a bigger deal. It was like, well, you need your equity card. So I went through several different agents that were okay, but they had like 400 people on their books, and you'd ring them up and they'd go, who is it? You go, well, it's me. Oh yeah, that's right. And well, there's nothing this week. So, you know, there's a lot of times where I felt like throwing the towel in and going, oh my gosh, you know, this is a lot of work. But, you know, I kept with it, and gradually through networking and a lot to do with luck as well, being cast in several things that impressed the right agents. So it's just a case of jumping in there, doing as much as you can, trying to do quality stuff. Unfortunately, there's stuff that's going to be unpaid, but you know, I had to do that in order to get the paid stuff. I'm still doing things unpaid, you know, not everything, but some things, because that's where I may have something great, like to show a really good agent, which what I did, and they took me on. So without doing the unpaid one, I wouldn't have got the good agent. So just try and build up a body of work. Networking is a big thing in the industry. Be professional, show up on time. You know, just try and do the best you can, and just try and ignore negative criticism, and staying positive. Yeah. And if you are not confident in certain areas, then work on that. That's, I went to an audition to play an American before I did the 3 American jobs I've done, where I sounded like ridiculous. I tried to do a New York accent, and they went, "Do yourself a favour, mate. Go back home and work on that." So I just watched American films, American movies. I'd pause it. I'd listen to the actor, then take it back, and so on, and just keep on until I got it perfect. And the next time I went to an audition for an American, I knew that I was going to, blow them away, which is how you want to feel when you go into an audition,
And we also had the experience as well. I mean, I remember being on a casting myself for Tuesday's Child, and it was going back a few years ago now for the World Cup. It was a Gala Bingo advert, and there was a production team there, and they wanted me literally to sort of run around as if I was an aeroplane and skid on my knees. And I had them in fits of laughter. I was laughing my head off myself. I think they loved it so much they got me to do it 5 times. And it wasn't until I was actually on the train on the way back from London, they did actually ring up the casting agent saying that I was shortlisted down to the last 2. But unfortunately, I didn't get it because they gave it to a young lady who's done a lot of other things with them. So I was a bit gutted, really. But it was a good experience because you can have a giggle, can't you, when you're doing these auditions as well. And I think the good thing is to laugh at yourself. And not take yourself too seriously when you get it wrong, because if you do, then you sort of get disheartened, and you think, I'm not bothering anymore, and you do have to persevere in this industry and not give up. It's really important that you keep going because eventually you will get where you want to be, hopefully. But enjoy the experience that you have along the way and the wonderful people you meet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying, you must always be as professional as you can, but at the same time, not take it too seriously in the sense where you then take yourself seriously. I've been to auditions and had to do some ridiculous things, one of the last castings I went on for a commercial was to just be shoving crisps in my mouth and coughing and then laughing and then coughing and choking. And I felt ridiculous. I think you've got to just think, sod it. Who cares? If you go in there thinking, I'm, trying to take it in it, you've just got to think, sod it. And whatever they want you to do, I've never turned any castings down. I just go in there now and think, I'm going to make a fool of myself. I mean, I know I can't dance to save my life, but I've been to auditions where they've wanted someone that was like an okay-ish dancer, and I've just gone for it and got the job.
So you never know, do you? If you don't try, you'll never know.
Exactly. You've got to think, I'm in this business. I let's just go for it and try. If they want you to make out to, I had one where they wanted me to turn into like a werewolf / dog and start barking and screaming, and I thought, wow, there's really attractive sort of casting women there, casting directors, and they're like, and I'm like, wow, I come in trying to be the cool guy, and now I've got to do this, and there was no real warning, and I'm like, you know what? I said, wait there a minute. I went and messed up all my hair and everything, and made myself look a bit of a state, pulled my shirt out, and just went in there and went for it. And they were like, well, you really don't give a damn. And I'm like, no, you can't, it's all about enjoying the journey. It's got to be fun. If you took it so seriously, you'd end up having a nervous breakdown. I would have done it by now.
But like you say, it is all about fun along the way, because with that Gala Bingo advert, I was meant to have won like £100,000, and I was jumping up and down screaming, being really excited about I won £100,000. But the young lady who got the casting, she wasn't very excited at all. And I thought, gosh, it was a bit disappointed when I saw the actual advert, because I was like jumping up and down, really excited. But again, it's all about the process of change, and sometimes you will get rejected, but just enjoy it regardless.
Absolutely. 9 times out of 10 you're going to be rejected. That's called an aspiring actor, who Who can say they get you could talk to Tom Cruise and he would tell you stories about that. Brad Pitt, you know, everybody's been through it. You're going to get 1% of the, unless you're very, very lucky. I mean, I believe a lot to do with whenever I speak to successful actors, there's always I got lucky here. I was in the right place at the right time.
I believe law of attraction.
I mean, yeah, some of the stuff, the stuff I've done, it was just, I'd be there. I was there on a film set for a feature film, and I went along with a friend one day, and they said, "We like the look of you. Do you want to do some dialogue in a scene?" And I went, "Yeah, definitely." And I did, and that led to then another speaking role. So it was right place at the right time, you know. I mean, yes. I find that, you know, luck plays a part in it. It really does, to a certain extent, you know.
And synchronicity. I do believe in fate and synchronicity events as well. Because, I mean, if I hadn't been on that London Heist gangster movie with Rennie and Gillian and my best friend Tracy, we wouldn't have been in the free mobile Christmas advert going back in 2018, I think it was. And that was, you know, obviously the same production company were filming that, which was Full Well 73. So I was really blessed, and I, you know, sang in the choir, and we had great fun. It was a wonderful experience, and we enjoyed the party too, didn't we?
Yeah, it's funny how things, you know, they can pop into place, and fate plays a role. It's like I've met people on other sets, and we've gone off and worked together. Like with Mother's Child, there's a few guys there that came along to play barman and whatnot, and then we've ended up hitting it off as friends, and they're now playing roles in the next short film, you know. So yeah, definitely the networking. I mean, my phone, before I got seriously into acting again, I probably had about 30 contacts. Because of acting, working in the industry, I probably got over 500, and it's like, wow. And I've not gone out trying to make new friends. It's just that you meet so many different people throughout the year on so many different sets, and it's great, you know. I really enjoy that side of it, you know. It's like a perk of the job, you know.
Yes, and networking as well. So how can our viewers get in contact with you, Swaylee, if they'd like to maybe, you know, sort of audition to be in one of your future movie roles, or would like to maybe book you for one of their movie roles? How can they get in contact with you?
Well, that, you know, anybody can get in contact with me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. Just type the name in. Facebook, I've got my acting page. I've got my website. The details of my website are on my Twitter and Instagram. You could, you know, my email address is also on there. They can email me. So yeah, just if you need to contact me, you're interested in working with me on something, you want to send me a script to read, all the information and my details are on IMDb, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So yeah, there's you know, you can get in contact with me, no problem.
Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to us today, and good luck with your future plans. And I look forward to being on a film set with you again in the future, maybe in Dorset.
Absolutely. When we do Dorset, there is no way I'm coming up there without getting you involved. So you will be working with me.
And I can sing too. Oh, bless you. Well, thank you so much. It's been so lovely talking to you today.
You too. It was a pleasure. Thank you, and you enjoy the rest of the day. And yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. And I hope I didn't miss anyone out that I said that I'd mentioned. So,
oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for each and every one of you as well for tuning in today. And we will be back again next week, but we'll be back on Thursday at 12 p.m. And I'm going to be interviewing the lovely Simon C. Brown and his lovely talented son too, Liam Brown. And we're going to be talking about Panache Global Entertainment Awards, which I'm really excited about, and Princess Peace too. So that's going to be next Thursday at 12 o'clock. So wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now, and thank you.